so glad you could join me. Today, I thought we would take a look at a book about herbs, or herbs, depending on what you like to say. This one is the complete book of herbs. A practical guide to growing and using herbs. And here we have a lovely bouquet of flowers and herbs in a basket, the handle here. And this is by Leslie Primness. Let's take a look inside. The Complete Book of Herbs is a comprehensive, practical, and inspirational guide to growing and using herbs indoors and out. Both a reference book and a source book of ideas, it reveals the enormous potential of these versatile and rewarding plants. To help you identify herbs and select those you want to grow, the Complete Book of Herbs includes a full-color photographic guide to over 100 herbs, featuring full notes on cultivation and traditional and present-day usage. The Complete Book of Herbs abounds with imaginative ways of enjoying herbs. It includes over 80 delicious recipes for everything from fish and meat dishes to salads and desserts. It explores the therapeutic properties of essential herbal oils and offers easy-to-follow recipes for herbal cosmetics for the skin, hair, and bath. There are ideas for making colorful, fragrant decorations and gifts, as well as traditional methods of making herbal dyes, papers, and potpourri. The Complete Book of Herbs also provides original and adaptable designs for creating and planting your own herb garden. Fully illustrated throughout and packed with information and ideas, the Complete Book of Herbs will help you derive the maximum benefit and pleasure from growing and using herbs. And the inside of the cover is a lovely green and white print of leaves. This is a Dorling Kindersley book, and it was printed in 1988. Oh my goodness, so long ago. The contents, we have herbs in the garden, planning different gardens, patios and balconies, an indoor herb garden, theme gardens, a herbal index using herbs for decorations in the kitchen, for the household, for beauty, essential oils, for health, cultivating and harvesting, and then a catalog of herbs. So I just picked out a few pages here to take a look at, because there is quite there's a lot of information in this book. Let's read the foreword. And where the marjoram once, and sage and rue, and balm and mint, with curled-leaved parsley grew, and double marigolds and silver thyme, fields to get the tempting flowers, as ladies' laces, everlasting peas, true love lies bleeding with the heart's at ease, and golden rods and tansy running high, that o'er the pale top smiled on passer-by. Flowers in my time which everyone would praise, though thrown like weeds from gardens nowadays. It's by John Clare, around 1800. I would heartily advise all men of means to be stirred up to bend their minds, and spend a little more time and travel in these delights of herbs and flowers than they have formerly done, which are not only harmless, but pleasurable in their turn, and profitable in their use. And that's by John Parkinson, Theatrum Botanicum, 1640. Then we have, of course, lovely pictures of different gardens. Yellows in the back, white, purple, orange up front. Look at all these lovely gardens. Herbs in the garden. I have some ways that you can lay out your garden. Different gardens and what's in them. Let's go ahead and start with some of the herbs. Yarrow / milfoil. This unassuming plant conceals great powers. One small leaf will speed decomposition of a wheelbarrow full of raw compost. Yarrow's root secretions will activate the disease resistance of nearby plants, and it intensifies the medicinal actions of other herbs. Yarrow is also a potent healer. The name Achilles may stem from the Battle of Troy, when Achilles healed many of his warriors after being instructed in Yarrow's ability to staunch blood flow. Long considered sacred, Yarrow stems were used by the Druids to divine seasonal weather in Europe, while in China, Yarrow stems were used to foretell the future with the assistance of the I Ching, the Book of Changes or Yarrow Stock Oracle. Here we have seed that are small, gray-brown, flat, and tear-shaped. We have the dried leaves. These exude a mild, sage-like flavor for use as a medicinal and cosmetic tea. Here we have white flowers on their stems. Small, dull white, sometimes pink, flattish clusters with pungent scent appear from summer to autumn. The stem is hollow, ridged, branching near top and green. The dried stems, 50 straight stems of even length, are thrown by masters of the I Ching before consulting this oriental ancient guide to the future. The leaf is narrow, aromatic, feathery, deeply cut, and dark grayish green, rich in vitamins and minerals. The lifespan is a hardy herbaceous perennial, height 1 to 3 feet, invasive. Sow or divide invasive roots in spring or autumn, growing thin or transplant to 12 inches apart. Deadhead for second blooming. Yarrow is not suitable for growing indoors. Harvesting. Gather leaves and flowers in late summer. Preserving. Dry leaves and flowers. Uses. Decorative. Flower. Display the dried heads. Culinary. Leaf. Finely chopped, slightly bitter, peppery young leaves into salads and soft cheese dips. Use to garnish. Household. Whole plant may help nearby plants to resist disease and deepens their fragrance and flavor. Infuse to make a copper fertilizer. Interesting. Leaf. Speed decomposition by adding one small finely chopped fresh leaf to each wheelbarrow load of compost. That's interesting as well. Cosmetic. Infuse fresh flowers for a facial steam and tonic lotion. Use the infusion as a basis for a face pack for greasy skin or in a relaxing bath. Leaf. Brush fresh leaves onto a shaving cut because it helps to stop bleeding. Medicinal. The leaf. Chew fresh leaf to aid toothache. Infuse as a tea for digestive problems and to regulate menstrual flow. Induce perspiration. Cleanse the system and cure a cold. Make a decoction for wounds, chapped skin, and rashes. Use as a mouthwash for inflamed gums. Note: extended use of yarrow leaves may make the skin sensitive to light, so if you're putting it on your skin, be careful. Make sure you put on your sunscreen before you go out. I've just kind of picked these if I found something that was interesting when I was reading through. So it's really kind of just random. Angelica. Umbelliferae. Angelica archangelica. An ancient and highly aromatic plant, Angelica is praised in the folklore of northern European countries as a panacea for all ills. Its name is thought to derive from the fact that, in the old calendar, it usually came into bloom around the feast day of the Archangel Michael, the great defender, who appeared in a vision to explain its protective powers against evil. Angelica is a moisture-loving native of damp meadows and river banks. Its large leaves have a tropical appearance and can give the garden a lush atmosphere. The seeds are buff, 1/4 inch long, produced in profusion ripening late summer of the 3rd year. The dried leaves are indispensable for herbal teas. Crystallized stems. Choose fresh young green stems of pencil thickness for crystallizing. The leaf, large, divided, bright green. The stem is thick, hollow, and rigid. The stem reminds me of rhubarb stems. Dried root. Angelica root has the longest lasting aroma of any part of the plant. It's thick, rigid, aromatic taproot, usually with 2 or 3 major side roots. The lifespan is 3 years hardy herbaceous biennial, extendable to 4 years if emerging flower spikes are removed. The height is 3 to when in full sun so that the roots don't dry out. Soil deep and moist. Propagating. Allow plants to self-seed or sow fresh in early autumn. Take care when buying angelica seed. It loses most of its viability within 3 months. Good to know, because I've had many seeds from different plants that never would grow, so I wonder if that's what happens. Growing. Seedlings should be transplanted in spring before the taproot becomes established. Leave about a square yard between plants. Harvesting. Cut stems before midsummer for crystallizing. Harvest leaves before flowering. Collect ripe seed in late summer. Dig up root in autumn of first year. Preserving. Dry leaves and root. Crystallized stems. Uses. Decorative. Flowers. Display dried seed heads for a striking winter decoration. Leaf. Long-stemmed leaves look attractive in a vase. It does have rather attractive leaves, doesn't it? Kind of fringed on the edge. Multi. Leaves on a stem. Culinary. Seed. Mixed with stems and used to flavor drinks including gin, vermouth, and chartreuse. Leaf. Stew with acidic fruits to reduce sugar requirement. Serve fresh chopped leaves mixed with mint and mayonnaise. Stem. Crystallize for decoration. Cosmetic. Leaf. Used for a relaxing bath. Aromatic. Seed. Burn in a chafing dish to perfume a room. Leaf. Use in potpourri. Root. In spring, make an incision at the ground to yield an aromatic gum. Use as a fixative in potpourri. Medicinal. Make tea from fresh or dried leaves as a tonic for colds and to reduce flatulence. That's helpful. Crushed leaves freshen the air in a car and help prevent travel sickness. Now I could go for that because I do get a dose of the old car sickness occasionally if I'm in the back seat. Oh man, one year I went with some family to go looking at Christmas lights, which we do here in the States because we do. And we had just eaten some food before we went out, and I had to sit in the back seat. And I'll be honest, that was the most miserable Christmas light adventure I've ever been on because I just felt so sick. It was horrible. Not because of the food I ate, but because I was in the back seat. So those of you who have motion sickness, I'm with you. Boragio officinalis. Borage or borage. I guess it depends on how you say it. Boraginense. The common thread running through historical descriptions of borage is its ability to make men and women glad and merry, to comfort the heart, dispel melancholy, and give courage. Well, I like this plant already. It sounds lovely. The Celtic name borage means courage, and the Welsh name Llewellys translates as herb of gladness. According to Dioscorides and Pliny, borage was the famed nepenthe of Homer, a herb wine that brought absolute forgetfulness. So I guess if you really need to just forget your troubles, a wine made of borage will help you out. The flowers are a beautiful pure blue, often chosen by old masters to paint the Madonna's robe. Flowers were embroidered on fine medieval tapestries and on scarves for tournament jousters. They were included in the page borders of herbals and books of hours. For courage, they were floated in the stirrup cups given to crusaders at their departure. The noble qualities of borage may derive from its high content of calcium, potassium, and mineral salts, and research suggests borage works on the adrenal gland, where courage begins. So here we have seed, dark brown, largish, brown-black, dry-sided, and lozenge-shaped, often viable for up to 8 years, so that's a seed you could hang on to. Flower, sky blue, sometimes pink, rarely white. 5-petaled stars with prominent black stamen tips, nod downward in clusters at the tip of the stem. Leaf, dark gray-green, oval-pointed, textured, covered with prickly white hairs. Cucumber-scented juice when crushed. Stem is sturdy, hollow, round, branching with prickly white hairs. Cucumber-scented juice. Flower heads. Pick off by grasping the black stamen tips and gently separating the flower from its green back. So yeah, this rather delicate looking, pretty flower with purple petals, the black stamens in the middle. See the green underneath the purple petals. Near are closed flower buds. It's really quite an attractive plant. It looks like it would be perfect for bees to visit. Cultivation, open sunny position, light and dry, well drained, propagating, seed on site or singly, in pots in spring for summer flowers, autumn for spring flowers, self-sows freely on light soils, growing set out 12 inches apart, plant among roses or summer prune to keep tidy, possible to grow small plants indoors. Big flowers and leaves, dry flowers freeze in ice cubes or crystallize for preserving. Uses, decorative. String together as a necklace, add to summer arrangements. Sounds like a fun kids' activity. Culinary, sprinkle flowers in salads and as a garnish, crystallize for cake decorations. Young leaf, add to cold drinks, claret cup Pimm's No. 1, for example, for their cucumber flavor and cooling effect. Chop finely in salads, yogurt, soft cheese, pickles, and sandwiches. Cook as spinach or with spinach. Add to ravioli stuffing. Household. Flower attracts bees to gardens. Whole plant. Plant near strawberries as they stimulate each other's growth. Interesting. May control tomato worm if planted near tomatoes. Excellent. When burned, the nitrate of potash content will emit sparks and slight explosive sounds like fireworks. So I guess you could toss a few of those into your fireplace on a winter's evening or onto your campfire. Cosmetic. Leaf. Add to a face pack for dry skin. Mix with barley and bran in a bath bag to cleanse and soften skin. Medicinal. Leaf. Use in a salt-free diet as rich in mineral salts. A poultice soothes inflammation and bruises. Seed. Early research suggests the presence of gamma-linoleic acid, such as evening primrose. Calendula. Marigold. Compositae. Calendula officinalis. One of the most versatile herbs, calendula is popular as a cheerful cottage garden flower. For its use in cosmetic and culinary recipes, as a dye plant, and for its many healing properties. As this hardy annual seems to be in flower continuously, it attracted a botanic name which reflects the belief that it was always in bloom on the first day of each month. Latin for calends. The regular supply of petals and young leaves contributed to its frequent use. Ancient Egyptians valued it as a rejuvenating herb. Hindus used it to decorate temple altars, and Persians and Greeks garnished and flavored food with its golden petals. In Europe, it has long been used to flavor soups and stews, and to color butter and cheese. It is a soothing antiseptic and an excellent skin healer, especially for cracked skin and chapped lips. In the American Civil War, doctors on the battlefield employed the leaves to treat open wounds. It just always fascinates me, all the plants that we've used for medicine for so long, and that a lot of pharmaceutical companies have grown on to synthetically make based on plants. Flower 2 to 3 inches across, golden yellow, orange petals, sometimes fluted, radiating from a pronounced center. They're quite lovely little flowers, aren't they? Ooh, the seeds actually look like dried worms. Beige, 1/4 inch long, shaped like a curved apostrophe with a knobbly backbone. I'm not sure I would know that those are seeds if I just saw them laying on the ground. Petals. Our bright orange petals have high concentration of active ingredients. The dried petals keep their color well and have many uses. Leaf is mid-green, hairy base leaves are paddle-shaped, stem leaves are lance-shaped, so they're long and slender. Stem, green, succulent, angular, branching, covered with fine hairs, so it's probably kind of soft. Lifespan, a hardy annual. The height is 12 to 20 inches. Cultivation, sunny position, soil, fine loam, but tolerates most soils except waterlogged. Propagating, sow seed in spring in situ or singly in pots. Plant out 12 to 8 inches apart. Deadhead for continuous flowers. Harvesting, pick flowers when open and leaves when young. Preserving, dry petals at low temperature to preserve color or macerate in oil. Decorative, flower, dry petals to add color to potpourri. Culinary, use petals lavishly to give saffron color and a light tangy flavor, not saffron flavor, to rice, fish, and meat soups, soft cheese, yogurt, butter, omelets, milk dishes, cakes, and sweetbreads. Add 1 teaspoon petals to fish and venison. Garnish meat platters, pate, and fruit salad. It looks like it's a do-all for everything. Leaf, sprinkle in salads and stews. Household, boil the flower for a pale yellow dye. Cosmetic, add petals to creams and baths for cleansing, healing, and softening the skin. Medicinal, soothing, healing, and antiseptic. Used in ointments for leg ulcers, varicose veins, bed sores, and bruises. Take in an infusion to aid digestion and promote bile production in the liver. Helpful for alcoholics. Make into a healing mouthwash for gums after tooth extraction. Calendula oil is extracted from the petals by maceration. It is healing and rejuvenating, used in many skin preparations and in aromatherapy. In particular, soothes inflammations, chilblains, cracked nipples from breastfeeding, and it's non-toxic for baby. Because if anybody knows what it feels like when you have cracked nipples from breastfeeding, it is miserable. It burns. A little too much. Is that too much information? I don't think so. Caraway. Umbelliferae. Carum carvi. Definitely a herb with a pedigree. Caraway has been found in the remains of Stone Age meals, Egyptian tombs, and ancient caravan stops along the Silk Road. The Arabic word for the seed, carawaya, gives us the present name, and Isaiah speaks of its culture in the Bible. In Shakespeare's Henry IV, Falstaff is offered a pippin, or apple, and dish of caraways, this being a traditional finish to an Elizabethan feast. Caraway has always been popular in Germany, and when Queen Victoria married Prince Albert, Britain renewed its interest in his favorite seed. Such an ancient herb is not without its magical properties. Caraway gave protection from witches and was believed to be able to prevent departures, so it was used in love potions. Well, that sounds good to start with, but what if you get tired of them and they'll never go away? Flower. Minute white flower heads born in midsummer. Seed. 2 aromatic, 1/4 inch long, narrow seeds grow in each capsule, which explodes when ripe. Each is dark brown, crescent-shaped with pale ridges. Darkest seed from northern Europe, especially Holland, said to be best quality. The stem is slender, furrowed, smooth, and branching. It looks a lot like carrot leaves. Leaf is finely cut and feathery. The root is thick and tapering. Lifespan, hardy biennial. Height, 8 inches the first year, 24 inches second year. Cultivation, full sun, rich loam soil, propagating sow outside in late spring or early autumn in shallow drills in permanent position. Growing thin out to 8 inches apart. When large enough to handle, caraway can be grown indoors in a sunny position. Harvesting, gather leaves when young, pick seed heads in late summer or when seeds are brown, dig up roots in second year. Preserving, hang seed heads upside down over an open container. Culinary, the seed, sprinkle over rich meats, pork, game, and Hungarian beef goulash to aid digestion. Add to cabbage water to reduce cooking smells. Interesting. Used to flour soups, breads, cakes, biscuits, apple pie, baked apples, and cheese. Serve in a dish of mixed seeds at the end of an Indian meal. Encrust with white sugar to make caraway comfits. Its essential oil is used in liqueurs, such as kumel, and in confectionery. Leaf. Chop young leaves into salads and soups. Roots. Cook as a root vegetable. Household seed. Pigeon fanciers claim that tame pigeons will never stray if there's baked caraway dough in their coat. Well, that's interesting. Cosmetic. Seed. Use essential oil in mouthwashes and colognes. Medicinal. Seed. Chew raw or infuse seed to aid digestion, promote appetite, sweeten the breath, and relieve flatulence. Safe for children. Perennial. Chamomile. Chamomilium nobile or Anthemis nobilis. The Egyptians dedicated chamomile to the sun and worshipped it, above all other herbs, for its healing properties, while Greek physicians prescribed it for fevers and female disorders. Among the 9 sacred herbs of the Lacnunga, an ancient Anglo-Saxon manuscript, chamomile is the mathen. Moreover, chamomile has inspired a proverb about energy and adversity. Like a chamomile bed, the more it is trodden, the more it will spread. Chamomile is also valued for its sweet apple-scented leaves. In a popular gardening book of 1638, William Lawson wrote of the large walks, broad and long, like the temple groves in Thessaly, raised with gravel and sand, having seats and banks of chamomile. All this delights the mind and brings health to the body. The relaxing aroma was also inhaled as snuff, or smoked to relieve asthma, which seems counterintuitive and cure insomnia. At beauty salons, chamomile tea is often served to relax facial muscles. Seed. Beige, narrow, and tiny. Dried flowers. The yellow center contains the active ingredients. Dried leaves. These retain their apple scent and are used in potpourri and herb pillows. There is a double-flowered chamomile, apple-scented leaves, and double cream flowers. So pretty. Flower, scented solid, conical, golden yellow center with white petals to 1 inch across, appears in summer and autumn. Looks like little daisies. Leaf, apple scented, finely cut and bright green. Here's a variation, Tranag, non-flowering, matte-forming clone with apple-scented leaves. The German chamomile is an annual, tall stems, scented white flowers with hollow, conical yellow centers, ribbed seeds, and grows to 2 feet. Dyer's chamomile has golden flowers yielding yellow-brown dye, borne all summer, and grows to 2.5 feet. The root is creeping rootstock, and it spreads the plant, creating desirable carpeting surface, which you can kind of see in this picture. They're very close together and just... Lifespan, hardy, evergreen, perennial. Height, 8 inches in full sun, 12 inches in light shade. I don't have any chamomile in my garden, but I think I should get some. Cultivation, full sun, light and well-drained soil, sow in spring. Perennials, divide in spring or autumn. Take 3-inch cuttings from side shoots in summer. Growing, for a chamomile lawn or seat, plant 4 to 6 inches apart. For harvesting, gather leaves anytime. Pick flowers when fully open. Preserving dry flowers and leaves. Household. Grow this physician plant near a failing plant to revive it. Infuse and spray on seedlings to prevent damping off, and on compost to activate decomposition. Flour, boil for a strong yellow-brown dye. Flour for cosmetics, infuse as a facial steam and as a hand soak to soften and whiten skin. Make an eye bath or tea bag compress to reduce inflammation and eliminate fatigue shadows. Add infusion for a reviving bath. Boil flowers for 20 minutes and use regularly as a rinse to lighten and condition fair hair. Aromatic. Flower and leaf used in potpourri and herb pillows. Medicinal. Flower. Infuse flowers as a tea for a general tonic and sedative. Good for restless children and nightmares. Apply a compress to treat wounds and eczema. Use in a bath to relieve sun or wind-burned skin. Well, we've covered several today, and as you can see, I have several marked off here to cover, so we'll have to do this book again. It's very interesting. Just always remember, if you're using them for medicinal purposes, you research it, make sure that it's appropriate for you, and ask your doctor, and beware of allergies to certain plants. You're probably going to have it with other plants, so be careful. I'm so glad you could join me today, and I hope that you found some of those things fascinating and beautiful to look at. I always find books like this fascinating because they give you little insights into how plants have been used over the centuries and the possible benefits to using them for different things. As always, I hope you're taking care of yourself, and